The NFL draft is about as unpredictable as my hairline at some point. I mean, you just never know where it's going to go. I mean, man, it used to be so much better. But you know what? This year, we just don't really know where a few of the chips are going to fall. But if they fall in the right places, I got a couple players who may be in line for a bounce back year that you're going to want to have on your fantasy football team. We're talking a few pre-draft sleepers right now. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Today we're talking about a few pre-draft sleepers, potential pre-draft sleepers, right? It's still April. It's still early. A lot of things can change. By no means are these guys on my must-have list here for 2021 as of right now, but we're going to discuss their current value and maybe pay attention to these teams, throughout the NFL draft, because if they don't add any depth at these positions, these guys could be looking at a pretty sweet gig here in 2021. Quick reminder, we're going to be live streaming the first round of the NFL Draft, April 29th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be kicking it off. We have a lot of people lined up to be on the live stream, so make sure you check that bell icon and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. Going to have a lot of fun during the NFL Draft, but now it's time to talk a few pre-draft sleepers. And why not start it off with James Conner of now the Arizona Cardinals? He finds himself out in the desert there on a one-year deal. I mean, Arizona just seems to find a way to bring in running backs on the decline part of their career and get every possible thing out of them that they can. A lot of people have written off James Conner. He's too injury prone. He can't last the whole season. He just can't be the guy. Well, remember Emmitt Smith back in the day, Edgerrin James, Rashard Mendenhall, Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson. There's a lot of guys that people thought were basically washed up, went to Arizona and continued their career just fine. Now, most of those guys on the older side, right? James Conner still only 25 years old as of right now. Now, I can hear it. I can hear the keyboards typing right now. Right? People down in the comment section right this second talking about Chase Edmonds. And I know the truthers are out there and you're starting to yell. You're starting to leave your comments right this second. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't hate Chase Edmonds, but he excels in his role, right? In the role that they can give him is what makes him great. He isn't a week in and week out 3-down back. He's just not built that way either. It's the reason that they split the way they did with Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds. So some of you want to look at a couple of plays from Chase Edmonds last year and just crown the guy. Slow the roll a little bit, right? This guy is good, but he can't be a legit 3-down back every single week of the NFL season. James Conner is going to be involved in this team. This team is trying to win games in Arizona, right? They're trying to make it to the playoffs, make it to the Super Bowl. They don't care about your fantasy championships, and we know they're going to utilize this 1-2 punch in the backfield. I mean, we know at some point they're going to want to limit the amount of rushing attempts that Kyler Murray has, right? At least designed rushing attempts. Save it for him scrambling when needed, not, taking that abuse on designed run plays. Let's find a solid 1-2 punch in this backfield and take some of that pressure off of Kyler Murray. They can't keep risking his health, right? We saw that in 2020. Once he got injured, his shoulder got hurt. He wasn't the same down the stretch. Still solid, but wasn't the same guy we saw first half of the season. Now, last year, Kenyon Drake finished as running back 14 overall in fantasy football in Arizona. Chase Edmonds was also 28. Drake was also on a one-year deal, and they gave him career touches last year. They used him up, right? The one-year deal, we're just going to, run it till the wheels fall off, basically. I still expect it to be something similar this year with James Conner kind of slotting in to that Kenyon Drake role. Now, I'm not saying that James Conner is a must-have running back here in 2021. He's just not. He's currently ranked by the consensus, though, as running back 35 overall. Last year, running back 35 was taken on average in the 9th round of fantasy football drafts. Now, James Conner as a solid running back 3, maybe even running back 4 on your roster at that point is minimal risk for a potential top 15 to 20 finish, especially on an offense that should give him a lot of scoring opportunities, right? This offense in Arizona, the defense is going to be improved, but the offense, next level, they could give him all kinds of scoring opportunities. And James Conner is just somebody I'm paying attention to here early on in 2021. But what about at the wide receiver position, you ask? None other than DJ Chark. And if you remember right, we weren't expecting a whole lot from DJ Chark. We actually had him listed in our draft guide as a bust and a do not draft. So he's somebody who we didn't have super high expectations for. I mean, the guy only had, 4 good weeks all year long? But it's not all his fault. We can't forget that he played 8 games with either Mike Glennon or Jake Luton as his quarterback. Yuck. That is absolutely disgusting. And because of that, he only had 66 catchable targets in 2020. I mean, for the love of all things holy, that is not that much going the way of DJ Chark, who is a legit wide receiver 1 in an offense. Now, we all expect Jacksonville to go with Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall, and really be their future franchise quarterback, right? And sure, they brought in Marvin Jones and they still have Laviska Shenault, but in my opinion, that's actually a good thing for DJ Chark. Opposing defenses now have other options to pay attention to, right? It's not just DJ Chark. Jacksonville is going to be improved. They're not really going to be contenders yet, but they are going to get better. They really need to improve their defense, and they're still going to be trailing a lot in ball games. What happens in the NFL when a team is trailing late in the game? They throw the ball a lot. That's what we need to have happen to really solidify a bump in production going the way of DJ Chark. Now, Trevor Lawrence has the ability to extend plays, right? Go down the field. That's kind of just where DJ Chark excels, right? Now, Marvin Jones may have bigger gains from time to time, but I'm really looking at that youth connection between Chark and Trevor Lawrence to really solidify itself throughout the season and be a little bit safer on a weekly basis. Now, in the mid rounds, you're really looking for targets at the wide receiver position, right? And touchdown upside, of course. And DJ Chark has that big play ability. As of right now, DJ Chark is listed by the consensus as wide receiver 33 overall. If he stays anywhere in the 30s, I may hop all over DJ Chark this year just for that high touchdown upside, that big play potential, in an offense that's going to be improved with a new franchise quarterback. DJ Chark is definitely somebody who we need to watch. Now, if they add more weapons in Jacksonville, obviously that's gonna hurt DJ Chark a little bit, and I don't want to blow his hype train out of proportion by any means. But the writing's on the wall for him to have an improved year after what we saw in 2020. Is he a must-have wide receiver? No, he's not. But he is somebody who I'm paying attention to because he could fall during your fantasy football drafts and really be a great value for you this year in 2021. What about the tight end position? Gerald Everett of now the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, this one kind of mind-boggling to me, to be totally honest, right? I mean, tight end is a wasteland in fantasy football. You'd think that people would be clamoring at the opportunity for a potential top 10 tight end. I mean, Everett's coming from Los Angeles, going to Seattle. It's a great opportunity for him. Now, over the last 5 years, Seattle has averaged 107 targets and 9 touchdowns a year to its tight ends. I mean, he's going to be competing with Will Dissly, but Dissly hasn't proven that he can stay healthy and is coming off 2 major injuries. I mean, he's dealt with a torn Achilles, a torn patellar tendon. I mean, over the last couple of years, these are going to start adding up to Will Dissly. And Gerald Everett is just a different kind of animal, right? This athletic tight end can go in there and take that job easily, in my opinion. Now, Everett's kind of unknown, though, for the most part, right? I mean, we do know this guy is arguably one of the most athletic tight ends, and Russell Wilson loves himself some athletic tight ends, if you know what I mean. I mean, despite only 61 targets in 2020, only 44 which were deemed catchable, by the way, he was still a top 15 tight end in yak yards among all tight ends in the NFL. If you don't know what yak is, it's yards after the catch. You get the ball in this guy's hands, and he makes things happen. He averaged 2 yards of separation on all of his targets. That's ridiculously open in the NFL. That's 6 feet of separation between him and the closest defender on balls in which he was targeted. The guy can create separation, and Russell Wilson's going to be looking for that. Now, defenses are going to have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf to worry about. We know that in the past, Russell Wilson has utilized his tight ends, especially inside the red zone. And right now, Gerald Everett is ranked at tight end 24 in fantasy football. I mean, really? With only 44 catchable targets last year, the guy finished 46 points shy of the top 12. Now, yeah, that's still a lot of points for a tight end, but the talent is there. The opportunity, that could be there also. What could we do with this guy if he was able to get, 80 targets? 80 targets may put him well inside the top 12, and at tight end 24, that's great value, right? I mean, that's someone you can draft late If you miss out on one of the top guys at the beginning, you're going to be taking a crapshoot anyway. Why not take it on an athletic tight end in an offense that utilizes his tight end? He's definitely somebody who I'm going to be watching here, as we get closer and closer to the regular season in 2021. But like I said at the beginning, a lot of things can change, right? I mean, the NFL draft isn't here yet. Off-season programs, preseasons, a lot can happen. These are just a few names that we really need to pay attention to here over the coming months. Don't write them down in your notebook as must-haves yet. Don't do that. We'll make videos for must-have players. These are just names to really pay attention to. Watch these teams during the draft. Do they invest any high draft picks in these positions on these rosters? Something to really pay attention to, right? That's what we really need to watch over the coming weeks and coming months. But it's always fun to talk about sleepers, right? Because sleepers kind of tend to be what helps you win championships, right? Look at last year. James Robinson, perfect example. If you follow us on Patreon, you knew about James Robinson in like June, maybe July. You would have known. You would have had him on your roster. He was a pleasant surprise for a lot of people, and that's what we're going to be looking for here once again this year. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel. We greatly appreciate the support, and we're going to try to bring you as much content as we possibly can here over the coming weeks leading up to the NFL draft. We look forward to interacting with you down in the comments. Also, if you leave a comment on a video here in the offseason, we do our best to get to every single one of them. But we greatly appreciate the support, and we look forward to hearing from you. We will talk to you later. Have a good one. Thanks.